The big question is, why does a good God allow bad things to happen? It's hard to know even where to start here. So let's go ahead and we'll see where it takes us.
Yeah, and it's sort of ironic for us kind of in a way not to know where to start, because that's probably the question that we as Christians, and even more specifically Christian apologists and philosophers, did ask, is why does God allow this suffering? And I think there's a distinction that has to be made right at the outset that can make a practical difference in where do we go from here in the marketplace of ideas. And that's the distinction between the philosophical or apologetic question, which is probably what we're going to focus on in our few minutes together, on the one hand, and then there's the pastoral question on the other. In other words, when you've got someone you're counseling or friend that you're trying to console who's actually in the throes of suffering, they've had a loved one pass away, they've gotten an ominous medical diagnosis or whatever it is. And it's likely at that point, they don't really need a PowerPoint presentation or some clever syllogism, although ultimately those philosophical answers will be what you have to get to. But they might need at the front end consolation, friendship, understanding. So that's a pastoral issue. But I think when people ask the question, at least in my experience, mostly what they're asking is this philosophical / evidential / apologetic type question. And really, it's only a conservative kind of Christianity that's on the hook for this question, because we're the ones that are simultaneously trying to maintain that God is all powerful and that God is all good. And that's the thing that actually occasions the challenge then. If that's true, if he's all powerful and he's all good, then why does he allow suffering? And I think that we can give maybe a broad answer, but I don't think it's possible, at least it's not for me, to give a direct connection. Why did God allow this particular tsunami to kill this many thousands of people? Or why does God allow this particular blastoma to take the life of this precious child? In other words, I don't think we can necessarily make connections. Why this one, why that one? But I think we can at least begin with a broad assessment. And I take a cue from Augustine, and then later Aquinas picks up on Augustine's comment in his Enchiridion, where Augustine basically said God's omnipotence and God's goodness suggest to us and gives us comfort to know that God will not allow any evil that he will not eventually bring some good out of. Now, again, we might not be able to suggest, well, what good could possibly come out of thousands of people killed in a tsunami, except to say it in a more broad sense in terms of what God is doing in the lives of the individuals, say the survivors, or what God's even doing in those people in the afterlife in terms of what they go through.
Don't miss Why God Lets Bad Things Happen, a First TV original special, available now exclusively for First TV supporters. Visit thefirsttv.com or the First TV app to learn more.